Okay, this is the second question regarding marriage, divorce, and remarriage, and this is regarding Matthew 5:32 and Matthew 19:9. I'll just read one of the verses because they basically say the same thing. But Matthew 5:32 says, "But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is put divorced, committeth adultery." So, is this verse giving permission to remarry? Uh, the answer there also, well, is actually in the word fornication, saving for the cause of fornication. In Matthew, if you remember, that's the gospel that teaches about Mary and Joseph. And the Bible talks about how Joseph was espoused to Mary and she was his wife, and they call them husband and wife even before they actually had the marriage union. Even though they were engaged, they were still called husband and wife. And then when Joseph found out she was pregnant, he assumed she had committed fornication, which is what this verse is talking about. And so he was thinking to put her away privily, because at that time an engagement was a much more official thing than it is today. You know, they would get engaged and they would have to get a divorce to not get married. So I believe this is what this verse is talking about. One thing that it cannot mean. Here's what it cannot mean. It cannot mean adultery, because if it did mean adultery, the word there would not be porneia, the word would be moikia, because moikia is a word that actually means adultery. And the other reason why I do not believe that it is anything, you know, some other versions say marital unfaithfulness, some versions say unchastity. Though, you know, those are all, the word there is porneia, and the Greek interpretation, the interpretation for porneia is fornication, and it's only in Matthew that this exception clause is put in. It's not put in Mark or Luke either. It's only in Matthew. Mark or Luke say the exact same thing without the exception clause. And then when you add Corinthians to it and Romans to it, you realize, wow, you really can't get married. And this is why the disciples found it so hard when Jesus was talking to them about this. They said, well, if this be the case, then it's better for no one to ever marry, because they realized what Jesus was saying is, hey, this is for life. And this is going to represent my love for you, Christ and his church. And Christ never leaves his church, nor does he forsake her, even when the going gets tough, even when the for worse comes. And so this is why I do not believe that the exception clause is valid for anything else. In our day today, we don't do things the way they did back in the Bible days, but actually my culture still does, and they do practice this. They have a engagement period, and if a woman is found to have not have her virginity, or is found with child, the man can clearly put her away, not marry her, and remarry and marry someone else, and he would not be considered an adulterer in the Bible, because this was an engagement period. One thing I would like to mention here is, if you read Galatians 5:19, it says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication. Now these are the words moikia, porneia. So God does not use these words interchangeably. You know, when he says porneia, that's what he means. And when he says moikia, that's what he means. And then in 1 Corinthians 6:9, it says the same thing. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves or mankind. This is, you read these verses, clearly the two words mean two different things. And that's why I believe Matthew 5:32 and Matthew 19:9 cannot possibly mean adultery, which is what most people believe it to mean today. Because if God meant it to be that, he would have replaced the word porneia with moikia. And to me, this only strengthens the betrothal stance. This is the end of question number 2.